You are listening to the Love and Money podcast with Shakira. And as you know, the moratorium will be coming to an end shortly. There have been no talks about extending it yet, but that is still up for debate. And according to the FHA, which is the Federal Housing Administration, they have listed the cities which are currently in the most trouble, with Atlanta being rated number one, followed by Houston, followed by Dallas, followed by San Antonio, followed by Fort Worth. So the FHA is the Federal Housing Administration. Currently, people have been on forbearance programs, and the forbearance programs have allowed people to pause making their mortgage payments. So they have not been making mortgage payments at all. That forbearance program has been extended until the end of September. And in that event, if people are still unable to pay, they are allowed to modify their loan, but the modification is not a guarantee. So the first step would be okay, after the forbearance program ends, which usually lasts from 6 to 18 months um, from when it was granted, after the forbearance ends, if one is still unable to pay their mortgage, they can modify their loan. In the event that that does not happen for some reason, then the last option would be to sell your home. Selling your home before foreclosure would prevent that foreclosure mark from being on your record. And with the fact that your house has appreciated, you would be able to sell your home, pay off the mortgage, and pay off any selling costs associated with that. And so by selling the home, you wouldn't have to go through a forbearance, and that would be the last option. There's also the option of doing a short sale. And what a short sale is it's for people who are in financial distress, and it allows you to sell your home for less than what the value of the home is. So say, for example, the amount that you owe on the home is $155,000. So, with a short sale, just for an example, they would allow you to sell that home for 145,000. So less than the amount that is due. That's what a short sale is. So for people who are in the predicament of having to sell their home, like I stated before, that is the very last step. Um, you're going to talk to your mortgage lender. Of course, they want to work with you because you're not the only one going through these problems right now because of the pandemic. There are millions of people experiencing this same problem. So they are more than willing to work with anyone who is going through this problem right now. And so the first step, like I said, is after the forbearance ends, talking with the lender and getting that loan modified. And then the last step would be selling the home, and you could use a short sale if that would be easier. And selling the home would prevent that forbearance mark from getting on your record. So, with all that is happening for people who only are left with the option of selling their home, we are currently in a selling market. But when people are forced to sell their home because they're unable to pay their mortgage, it would turn into a buyer's market. And with the buyer's market, the buyer is in an advantage because essentially the homeowner is forced to sell their home, and they would have to sell it at whatever price the buyer is willing to buy it for. So we're currently in a seller's market, but with all of the programs coming to an end, if people are forced to sell their home, we will go from being in a seller's market to a buyer's market where the buyer is at an advantage. And so, if anyone is out there who are in the situation of buying homes because they have the cash or the finances, they would be at the advantage now. They could buy the house at the price that they determine. And so that is what a buyer's market is. So essentially, we would go from being in a seller's market, which we are in right now, where the are at an advantage, to a buyer's market, where the buyer is at an advantage. And like I said before, the FHA has listed Atlanta as being the top city with the most people who are financially distressed when it comes to not paying their mortgages. So, this is what is going on with the housing right now. So, just keep your eye out. I haven't heard much on the news. People are being really quiet now. People aren't really discussing what is going on, but just keep in mind that the lenders are more than willing to work with you because there are millions and millions of people experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing right now. So just stay in connection if you happen to be in the situation that I just described. Just stay in connection and use all of your options. You have several options that you can use to work with. So, this is the Love and Money podcast. If you like this podcast, please share it with one other person. And please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. It helps the algorithm. Thank you for listening.